Rogue One went through a lot of changes before we saw the final product in theaters. This video, I want to talk about 10 of the biggest changes to the Rogue One storyline. Number 1. Jin's a rebel. In the first script, there was no Rook, Emway, or Malbus, and Jin wasn't a street criminal recruited by the rebellion, but an actual enlisted rebel soldier. In fact, there are toys still floating around that say Sergeant Jyn Erso from before the change was made. Number 2. Krennic and Vader. Krennic was actually killed by Vader in a bonus scene near the end, but they ended up scrapping it when they couldn't find a feasible way to make Krennic survive. But this is how it would have gone. After his fight with Jyn, Krennic finds shelter from the Death Star blast, and somehow survives. In the epilogue, he's rescued by Imperial forces and brought to Vader's ship to report to the Sith. Krennic is all beat up, his clothing torn, and thinking he served the Empire and everything is okay. Then Vader helps him choke on his aspirations. Number 3. Happier ending. Originally, not all the heroes died at the end. The writers were initially terrified that Disney wouldn't let them have the ending they wanted, that it was too dark for them. So instead, they made an ending that was more Mickey Mouse friendly. In one ending, Jyn and Cassian get picked up off the planet by rebels, transmit the plans to Leia's ship, and get away in escape pods when Vader blows up their ship. Vader doesn't detect them lost in the debris and moves on after Leia. Number 4. More alternate endings. However, there are actually alternate endings where they do all die, just not on the planet. In another revealed ending, Jyn and Cassian get picked up off the planet by a rebel ship with the plans, and Vader pursues them. They try to shake him with multiple jumps, but eventually they take too much damage. They try to get lost in the traffic of Coruscant, but after realizing they won't make it, they transfer the data to Leia's ship, who is leaving Coruscant on a diplomatic mission to Alderaan, who they also know is secretly working for the rebellion. After transferring the plans to Leia's ship, Jyn and Cassian blow up their ship with themselves on it, so Vader can interrogate them and learn rebellion secrets. Number 5. Lyra the Jedi. Yeah, in early versions, Jyn's mother was actually a Jedi. The Rogue One team feared that fans wouldn't react well to a movie just about rebel soldiers. They felt that they needed something involving Jedi in the movie. To meet that goal, in the earliest drafts, they made Lyra Erso, Jyn's mother, a Jedi. In the prologue, we were going to see the Empire hunting down the Jedi, and Krennic coming to kill Lyra. Instead of meeting the shaking woman with a gun we see in the movie, Krennic would come upon a Jedi Knight that was calm and collected, drawing her lightsaber to protect her family. She would still die, however. They later scrapped that idea because they realized Galen should be her main motivation. They felt like they were just shoving the Jedi in there to be in there. And then they also worried if they made Jyn's mother a Jedi, people would be wondering the entire film, is Jyn a Jedi? Does she become one? And since they had no plans of making her one, they felt that it was a tease and had no real payoff. Number 6. The double agent. In one version of the script, Cassian was actually a double agent, and he was planted by the Empire into the rebellion. Eventually, Cassian discovers the Death Star isn't a rumor or propaganda and will be used to cause mass destruction and loss of life. Believing to be on the wrong side, he switches to the rebellion. Then a stupid ending happens. After they get off the planet and are pursued by Vader, Cassian gets everyone in an airlock and sets off a carbon freeze bomb just as Vader destroys their ship. Vader's ship doesn't detect life, and he moves on to go after Leia's ship. They planned on explaining why Jyn, Cassian, and friends weren't in the original trilogy movies because they were stuck in carbon freeze, chilling in space. Number 7. It's a trap. Admiral Ackbar was going to lead the rebel strike on Scarif, but because he was already used in The Force Awakens, they swapped him out for Admiral Raddus. There were several other big cameos they wanted to add into the film, but then they realized that they were just doing fan service. Number 8. Budget cuts. We almost got a few different places in the movie, one of them being Dantooine, which we see in Star Wars Rebels and mentioned by Leia in A New Hope.
Dantooine. on Dantooine.
The director shared that originally the first half of the movie was going to be on this planet because, as we know in the original trilogy, there was a rebel base on the planet before it was abandoned. Rogue One was going to show the rebel headquarters on the planet before they fled. However, the director of Rogue One, Edwards, explained, "We wanted to put that in the film, where they evacuated and went to Yavin instead. All these little things would tie up when you watched A New Hope." But the idea of building two sets was very expensive. We ended up trimming things like that. To save money, they also cut Saw Gerrera's hideout being on an electrically charged moon and instead put it on Jedha to keep everything in one place. Number 9. Rook's Transformation. The initial plan for Riz was not to play Rook, but to play a crazy engineer named Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan was an Imperial engineer who was kidnapped and forced to work as Saw Gerrera's engineer. In this version, they were actually living on the planet with a strong electromagnetic field, which meant electronics were never working. Bo-Katan would have had Stockholm Syndrome as well, which was a little neat. Number 10. Rook's Death. Speaking of Rook, his character had a much longer, drawn-out death in the initial shoots. In the sequence where he was running around with the plug, there was one shot that was about a minute long of him ducking and diving from stormtroopers, trying to get the plug where it needed to go, while Emwe and Malbus were flanking them. Every time a stormtrooper would appear to stop Rook, Emwe or Malbus would pop up and take care of them. Then his character would crawl or jump over someone, just to be caught again. The actor said it had an almost slapstick comedy feel to it and didn't quite fit in with the rest of the movie. On the way, he gets shot, badly injured, but he manages to crawl on the ship, and then the whole explosion thing happens. Bonus, and this actually really isn't a change because they never planned on using it, but I'm still gonna include it. So the scene where Jyn limps towards a TIE fighter was filmed and used by the marketing team, even though the director of Rogue One knew it wouldn't be in the movie. So what did you think about these changes? Which ones do you think they should have kept? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks so much for watching. Please like the video and subscribe for more Star Wars videos.